Welcome back to the Soccer Ladder with Lee and me, the show where we explore what it really takes to climb the soccer ladder. Today we have Mike Chabala, two-time MLS Cup champion with Houston Dynamo. Did you win both of your MLS Cups with Houston?
Yeah, oh 06, oh 07.
Oh, very nice, very nice. You went to the University of Washington and played college soccer,
I did, yeah.
and you are now the founder of Sphere. Am I saying that right? Sphere?
It- yeah, exactly. Yeah, Sphere. That's it.
So let's go ahead and Lee, why don't you kick off the first question?
Tell us about your soccer journey.
Goodness gracious, that's a long story, but I started out like every other child. Mom and dad put me in, the rec, cute little league, where you're just running in like a bunch ball circle. But I'll never forget. It was just different for me. I remember laying out my clothes on the ground. I was freakishly excited, and there was just like this burning desire, that I think was from God that was much different than anything I've ever experienced in my entire life before. And that really like set me forward in my like career. And just from there, my dad lied about my birth certificate, played on an under 11 team. And then from there, like I was scouted to go to Europe. Where I lived and played from 8 to 10, and then came back because my parents wanted me to go to college.
Wait, hold on. Did you hear that? He went to Europe from age 8 to 10 by yourself, right?
Yeah, so just the normal like soccer, but my parents were just like, he's too good. Let's lie and say he's like 11 or 10. And then I was at Surf Cup and playing, and I was really good. And this scout went up to my coach and was like, "Who's that player?" And found out I was actually 8. And then next thing you know, went to my hometown for a training session, and then just asked my parents like, "Hey, can you come over to our academy and train with us?" And so then I went over by myself because my parents couldn't afford it, and it was just that it'd work. So yeah, like I lived with two older kids. They were 14 and 16, and then an American coach who was also Austrian. And so I basically took care of myself, got myself to training twice a day, school. But yeah, from eight to 10 by myself, off and on. I was basically, yeah. And then they offered me a pro contract at 10, but my parents said no because they wanted me to go to school. Because if you sign professionally, then you can't get a scholarship. So then that's when I came back to the States. But yeah, that was what really set my career apart and kind of turned me from like, this is fun to, okay, this is what I really want to do. And, started working at the time, like the Olympic development program or the route towards like becoming a pro.
Wow.
Wow.
That is
Yeah, that's awesome. Can you imagine, Lee?
no.
Yeah. Yeah, and then you went to college and played.
Yeah, University of Washington, just like the normal track for players. 4 years, graduated early, and yeah, got drafted with the Dynamo in 2006.
So you were a part of some incredible Houston Dynamo teams. What's one memory that stands out most from your time there?
I mean, it's hard not to say the championships, just because I think there's just nothing better than, achieving your goal. I think getting drafted in '06, I wasn't really sure that I was even going to get selected. So that was also a very like accomplishing moment. And just because at the time there was only maybe 14 teams in MLS, so there wasn't 30, there wasn't as many spots, there wasn't second team rosters. So being selected out of like, I think it was 48 players, I think it was like 46. I mean, it was just, there's not many spots. So that was a huge accomplishment. But I mean, overall, I'll always say it, and I think a lot of guys will relate. It's always the locker room for me, and the banter, the camaraderie, and feeling like you're part of this powerful group of men, that are all alpha winners, and being able to fulfill your lifelong childhood dream.
What were the biggest lessons or challenges you faced early in your professional career?
I didn't play for 4 years. I mean, I played. Like there was a reserve team after my first year. I went on loan to Portland just because some of the veterans just kind of encouraged me to go get games because I wasn't going to play on the best team in MLS for 2 years, and even the third year we were still really good, and I was playing behind the captain. So for 4 seasons, I actually never played like an official start like MLS game, and was obviously a good player. Was good for the locker room, hardworking, first one in, last one out. But I think it was the perseverance of making it there, but not actually breaking through. And a lot of guys, we were making $17,000, $20,000, $30,000. Like we weren't making a ton of money. So, it was a real commitment to be there. Obviously, it was a great accomplishment, but a lot of guys that were even much better than I was, that probably had a better resume, they left and just decided to go into business because they didn't want to struggle. I mean, it was a joke that they said you needed an actual loan or another job to play professional soccer at the time, and that's really true unless you had support financially from family, friends, or some other means. So, anyways, I say that all just because I think the perseverance of not playing for 4 years in the circumstances of what life looked like as a professional soccer player in 2006 to 10, and pushing through to break through, is just again kind of like the same thing from high school, right? You start as a freshman, you work your way up to a senior, and then you start all over again in college. And you're a freshman, you got to like start all over again, and then you make it to a senior, and then you start all over again. So that whole cycle is, not something that I wasn't familiar with. So it's just kind of the same thing, but it was very challenging and just persevering, even when you get to that top level where you think that, you made it, but you still have a lot of work to do even at that point.
Yeah, that's a great lesson on being committed and your personality and perseverance and, yeah, passion
Mm-hmm.
for the young kids. Our show focuses on youth development. What's one thing you would tell kids who dream about going pro?
Yeah, I love what you guys are doing, and I think there's so much that younger players are are missing from the academy systems and this player uh pathway. And I say that like guys like Eddie Johnson will probably agree with me, or Jeff Cameron, and a lot of players are missing the technical training that it's required to play at the top level. Like there's a reason why South American players are much better, or European players for that matter, German specifically, or even Dutch. There's a lot of footwork and training that goes into it. Like Liam, how many times can you juggle a soccer ball right now with your left foot?
Uh, Probably like 50,
Okay. And how old are you?
12.
Okay, so like the standard for that should be like 5,000 or like 1,000. Like every day you should be doing just with your left foot 1,000 juggles with your left, and then 1,000 with your right, and then 1,000 both, and then 1,000 with your thigh, and then 1,000 with your head. Like that should be like your daily morning cup of water. Like that's just what should be required for you as a player. Like outside in the backyard with your dog, like that should just be. So what I think a lot of younger players are missing are like just the true technical skills, from juggling to corver, that doesn't require a team, that just requires you and the ball, of doing, some people call it ball mastery, and it's kind of got a lot of fluff around it, but there's just like the nitty gritty stuff that just every single day, 1%, but over the next 10 years will tremendously help you. And I think that that's the stuff that a lot of youth players are missing, is that one-on-one technical ability. I think we're in America, so it's very capitalistic. It's focused on making money, not making players. And so obviously I think we have the right idea and system, but I think we have the wrong training. And so we don't have the right coaches, or we do, but we don't have it at scale yet. Nothing wrong with any of those coaches, are doing their best. But I was very fortunate to go to Europe at 8 and be in an academy where all I did was like play on like a futsal court and play in a small space and be required every day to juggle for an hour, to do technical drill before I even touched the field to even play. Like we were required to do our technical work. And that is a lot of the things that I would recommend younger players, which I'm happy to share with you offline to give you some context. Because again, it's always about what you do when nobody's watching, not what you do at practice when everybody's there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We're a firm
Mhm.
believer in that. Last summer, we went over to Belgium, and he trained with, it's called FPD Academy, and one of the coaches at KRC Genk as well. But just what he trained over there was so different from anything he's ever seen. It was such great training.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just like school, right? You're never with the same teacher. You're always progressing and learning, and you want to be on this pathway. But what is the measurement for a 12-year-old? Where should they be? How good should they be? How do you define what that looks like? Because they could play well in a group of 11, think they're doing wonderful, but they could be completely behind. So, anyways, it's nice to have good personal training sessions with good coaches, pro players. Success leaves clues. I mean, sometimes I was from Fresno, California. college soccer players was the best that I could get, but I would find like who was the best coach, who was that, and then I sought them out. My parents did to, put me in front of that person, right? Somebody that's actually done it. And, again, like I say, success leaves clues. So the more that you can get with other people, get some more knowledge, will only help his career and development.
After hanging up your cleats, you built Sphere. Tell us about what inspired that and how it blends soccer, wellness, and community.
I mean, I think every player looks to keep the ball rolling after they finish, whether they're coaching their son or daughter's team or whether they're taking a role like Stu Holden commentating the World Cup or you're coaching or general managing like Craig Weibel. I think everybody likes to find their own lane, and that's the beautiful thing afterwards is seeing where guys go. I loved fitness. It was my favorite thing. I was the fittest guy in MLS on every team. And obviously I have a PhD in soccer. So it was like those two things. And when I got done playing, I just had a hard time, going to these fitness workouts. They weren't the same. I was wanting to still play, but I also wanted to work out. So I really created like a soccer boutique version of group fitness, if you will. And so over the past decade, what I realized was, everybody wants to train you, Liam. Like everybody wants to like help you get better and make money. But what about mom, right? Like who's actually doing something to focus on the adults that aren't as competitive or maybe haven't played soccer ever, but allow them to actually get on the field, work out, play. So I've created group fitness classes that, was inspired by Soul Cycle and Barry's Boot Camp and CrossFit to create group training sessions for people to be able to actually go out into the world and take our programming and run with it. So our business model is like Zumba. We license our coaching program to individuals that want to learn, my 10 years of experience as a pro, plus all the training, and then 10 years of boutique fitness. And then we share that with other people while we help professional soccer teams essentially create social wellness, community activations, and experiences at the same time.
That is very cool. We
Yeah.
will definitely link a sphere in our bio and when we promote your episode. So is Sphere all over the US?
Yeah. If you go to our website, sphere.club, there's a map and you can see locations of where someone is kicking it. And we're in 20 markets now. And at one point in time, we were in 250 countries. We just broke our business model. So over the past year, we went from a service-based business where people would pay us money, we would pay coaches, they would go run it. And we flipped that into like a referee certification, a licensing certification, a Zumba coaching training certification. So which is much better for us now that we have a product. And so now YMCA, Special Olympics, high school coaches, Herbalife distributors, soccer moms or dads, essentially like you go into YouTube, be like, oh, I got to run a fitness soccer class. Like, what do I do? So essentially, we have an online training program that people take our brand and go and run with it. So yeah, our website, sphere.club, is the way to go, or Instagram. Pretty cool stuff.
So we are running out of time, but Liam has just some rapid fire questions before we go.
Hardest opponent you've ever faced?
Thierry Henry,
Teammate who was the biggest prankster?
Stuart Holden.
One word to describe your playing style.
Ooh, that's a good one. One word. Um, I'd say endurance,
One word to describe Spear.
community.
Dream 5 aside team.
Oh man, mine's different now, because I just want to connect and meet cool entrepreneurs and yeah. So I would say David Beckham. I would say Richard Branson. I would probably throw Bill Gates in there.
Wow. Oh, this is a team. Do you want Megan Linke on your team?
Yeah, join. Yeah, let's go, Meg. You could join. You're in.
I am no good, so you might want to
And
skip that.
let's throw Messi in there just because we need like a soccer player. I'm definitely a little bit outside the box now. I love football. I love what it's given me, the vehicle, but it's opened up so many doors outside of the game. So for me, my focus is more on business and entrepreneurship and personal growth and development versus your normal answer from every other soccer player and picking talented players. I'm more interested in what everybody else is doing outside the field.
Thanks so much for coming on with us and sharing your insights and your thoughts. And we look forward to meeting you soon.
Yeah, likewise. Yeah, anything I can do to help keep the ball rolling, but love what you guys are doing. Liam, make sure your mom messages me. I'll give you some videos and some work that you can do to hopefully help to help you keep the ball rolling and moving forward in your pursuit to the professional levels.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sounds good. Thanks for having me.
Bye.
Bye.